My beloved child, I have been trying to warn you since yesterday, yet you paid no attention to the signs I sent. From the first light of morning until nightfall, my angels whispered beside you, stirred the air around you, placed a quiet unease in your heart, but you brushed it off. You thought it was coincidence, exhaustion, or simply a busy mind, but my child, nothing in my kingdom is random. Every gust that touches your face, every small disturbance in your day is allowed under my divine hand. And now I speak plainly. You are standing on the edge of something that could pull your soul away if you do not awaken. I know your heart is pure, but it has begun to grow fragile, easily swayed by things that are not of me. You are opening your heart to those I did not send, pouring emotion into things that will not last, and allowing yourself to be swept up in waves of feeling instead of anchoring yourself in truth. You say you are loving, believing, living fully. Yet you do not see that sometimes passion placed in the wrong place leads to ruin. True love can only be born of me, for I am love itself. Everything else is only a dim reflection, a worldly imitation, wrapped in beautiful words, but hollow within. You are spending your energy, tears, and time on things I never ordained for your path. You are trying to hold on to relationships I have already released, searching for doors I closed in mercy. You do not realize that when I take something away, it is to save you. You have not lost them, you have been delivered from them. I never meant for those people to carry your heart, yet you handed it to them. You gave your soul to things that were meant only for a season, and you wonder why your heart keeps breaking when the season passes. Listen carefully. My child, I do not speak to punish, I speak to protect. My warnings are proof of love, not of wrath. A true father does not stay silent when his child walks near the edge of a cliff. And I, the one who formed your soul with light and breath, cannot watch you lead yourself into darkness because of blind emotion. I do not want your life to become harder. I want it to become holier. For in holiness there is peace, clarity, and strength beyond emotion. But you cannot receive these while still clinging to what I have told you to release. You are trying to carry things that cannot walk with you into your new season. So I must speak plainly, time is short. This is not merely about comfort or feelings. It is about the survival of your soul, the purpose you were created for, the eternal destiny I designed for you from the beginning. When I made you, I did not do it carelessly. Every cell, every breath, every gift within you was designed with intention. You are not a product of chance or fate. You are an idea in my heart from before the world began. I knew your name. I chose you. I loved you before you could ever call me Father. From the moment your heart first beat, I was there. When you took your first cry, I heard it and said, "That one is mine." Yet now my heart grieves to see you giving yourself to things far beneath the calling I placed on you. I see you seeking approval from people instead of looking for my gaze. I see you chasing sweet promises of love that hide chains of dependence and pain. I see you trusting emotions that are strong but unrooted in truth. And I see you drifting away from the light I lit within you. I have sent you signs, dreams that disturb your peace, heaviness in your chest around certain people, silences in prayer that speak more than words. Each one has meaning. They are how I stir your spirit, how I warn that you are off course. When you feel unease without knowing why, that is your soul reacting to what does not belong to it. You are not imagining it. It is I touching you. I do not speak only through scripture. I also speak through circumstances, through closed doors, through silence, through tears, through people I remove from your life. But you keep trying to reopen what I have sealed, calling back those I have told to leave. You think it is loyalty, but truly, it is resistance to my protection. Do you not believe that I see what you cannot? You pray for peace, yet refuse to leave the places that destroy it. You ask for clarity, yet cover your ears to my correction. You long for love, yet choose bonds that drain your soul. The love that comes from me never confuses or imprisons you. It brings freedom, healing, and life. You have grown so accustomed to chaos that you mistake it for passion. You think strong emotion means life, but sometimes it is merely proof of bondage. I am not in the chaos. I am at peace. And true peace is not the absence of noise, but my presence within it. My beloved child, stop for a moment and look back upon the road I have walked with you. Remember the times I made a way when there seemed to be no way. When the bills piled high, when despair surrounded you and then help came from nowhere. Was that not my hand? When you broke apart yet rose stronger than before, was it not I who mended your soul when you wanted to give up but felt an unseen strength carrying you forward? That was me, lifting you on my shoulders. And now I am doing it again, but this time not only to lift you, but to redirect you, for you are heading in the wrong direction. There are people around you whose intentions are not pure. They may smile, speak kindly, even appear to care, but I see what lies behind their words. I see envy disguised as compliments, manipulation dressed as concern, selfishness masked as affection. And I, the all-knowing one, will not allow you, the one I have chosen, the one who carries my purpose, to be swallowed by that snare. I will shake what can be shaken to awaken you. I will allow what you lean on to tremble, so that you may learn the only foundation that stands is me. If that shaking brings pain, give thanks, for it is better to ache for a moment than to lose your soul forever. I have spoken through the wind, through water, through silence, and now I speak through these very words. This is not a coincidence. This is my voice. And if you are hearing this through tears, trembling, and a deep knowing that says, He is speaking to me, then yes, it is you. Receive this word with reverence and joy, for not everyone hears me this clearly. You have a sensitive spirit, a heart finely tuned to my spirit. But if you keep ignoring my whisper, that voice will grow faint beneath the noise of the world. My beloved child, now sit quietly and recall the glimmers of light that have streaked across your life like chalk lines marking a boundary. Remember that morning you hesitated to open your eyes, not because your body was tired, but because your soul felt heavy as stone. Remember the moment you laughed politely at an innocent remark, but deep inside a small bell rang in warning. Remember that afternoon you read a gentle message, yet your heart closed like a window meeting a cold wind. You called it mood swings. I called it signs. For when a spirit has been touched by me, it grows sensitive to what is not of me. It trembles in danger's presence like a string that vibrates when struck by the right frequency. You once asked me, how can I tell the difference between your voice and my own? Listen, my child. My voice never drives you in panic, nor pushes you into haste. My voice is calm yet powerful, soft as water yet steady as the current beneath. It does not confuse you, though it may stir you with truth. It never contradicts what I have already spoken in my word. When you find yourself hiding, justifying, or twisting to defend your choice, that is the sign it is not of me. My light needs no shadow to exist. It reveals itself by being light. Think of the doors that closed while you kept knocking until your knuckles bled. You called it persistence. I called it attachment. Some doors closed because I had another path prepared. Others closed because behind them was a room filled with smoke. You could not see it, but I could. When you heard the latch fall with a sigh, that was my hand stopping you. I have shielded you countless times through coincidences, a missed bus that spared you an ill-fated meeting, a sudden storm that canceled an unwise plan, a brief illness that kept you home. You grew frustrated, thinking time was stolen, but in truth I was redeeming your time. Some entered your life with bouquets and smiles, their words dripping like honey. You felt your heart soften because you are generous and sincere. but not everything fragrant carries the scent of life. Some aromas are pleasant at first, yet leave a heaviness lingering like smoke in a closed room. I warned you through that weariness after each conversation, through those restless nights without cause, through that quiet depletion you couldn't explain. You blamed work, weather, hormones, visible things, but the source lies in the unseen. Your soul cannot rest because it is standing guard. It is sounding alarms. It is waving its hands, calling you home. I have stationed angels at every crossroad, silent sentinels, lifting their hands to stop you. You cannot see them with your eyes, but you have heard their voices soft as mist. Don't go that way. Don't call today. Don't reply just yet. Sadly, you have become so accustomed to speed that you mistake silence for delay and stillness for weakness. But stopping is a form of obedience. Stopping is worship in motion, like the moon holding still in its orbit so it does not collide with its own path. When I tell you to stop, it is not because I lack power to protect you as you move, but because I want you to learn to listen until my voice becomes the second heartbeat within you. Do you remember the strange dream you had not long ago? You were holding a cracked cup, pouring water until it overflowed. When you lifted it, water leaked down your arm, soaking your clothes. You were embarrassed, but you smiled and tried to save what remained. My child, that dream is a picture of your life now. You are pouring emotions, trust, and time into a vessel that cannot hold them. No matter how much you give, it leaks. The more you try, the wetter your garments become. I gave you that dream so you would understand the problem is not the water, it is the cup. The person you cling to cannot hold your heart safely. They are not evil, but they are not your harbor. They are not cruel, but they are not your home. You called them destiny, but I call them a season, and that season is over. I have also spoken through your discernment. When a connection constantly needs repair through apologies, when it demands you trade peace for presence, when you must shrink your calling to fit within it, that is a red flag. I did not design you to stoop through a door too low. I formed you to walk upright through the wide gate of purpose. Some people are meant to stay only in the foyer of your life. They cannot enter the sanctuary. If you pull them inside, they will spill the perfume of your worship and drop the golden vessels, not out of malice, but because they do not understand holiness. You often say to me, "Please give me a clear sign." My child, the clearest sign is the sharpening of your patience. When you can sit still for 7 minutes, as I have asked, you will feel the dust fall from your eyes. Your sight was never broken. It was only blurred. My voice was never far. It was just buried beneath noise. 7 minutes may seem short, but to a restless spirit, it is a revolution. In those minutes, I will reorder your thoughts, silence the songs of self, and let you hear the rhythm of divine intention. You will remember details you tried to forget, a careless word, a moment of disrespect, a promise broken without reason. You will notice the pattern whenever you draw near to me, that relationship drags you down. Whenever you seek peace, that conversation brings turmoil. Those are the facts. Respect the facts. Truth does not need drama, it only needs to be seen. Sometimes I let you taste the bitterness of what you thought was sweet, so that you might learn the flavor of eternity. Like a perfumer training their senses, you must learn not only the scent of roses, but the smell of smoke before the fire rises. My prevention often comes disguised as inconvenience, mismatch, or delay, but behind every no stands a shield. You think I am withholding your desire. I am blocking an arrow whose flight you have not yet seen. My beloved child, Micah 7:8 says, "Though I fall, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light." You fell before because you listened to other voices. Now rise because you have heard mine. Darkness has no claim over the one who turns their face toward the source of light. Do not condemn yourself for moments of naivete. Be grateful that the light is now clearer. Spiritual maturity is not never erring. It is knowing when to stop. You ask, if these signs are real, why can't I break free? Because, my child, every entanglement is tied by an invisible thread to a deeper need. That person or situation accidentally became a mirror for old longings to be seen, to be affirmed, to be held. I do not condemn those needs. I want to heal them at the root. I want to be the eyes that behold you, the voice that affirms you, the arms that hold you. When the source shifts, the thread loosens on its own. If you try to sever the thread without changing the source, it will sprout back like weeds after rain. Sometimes you say, but they have their good moments. True darkness is not always pitch black. It comes shaded with gray to deceive. Those warm intervals arrive sporadically just to keep you staying. But look at the fruit, not the flowers. Flowers dazzle for a season. Fruit proves the whole cycle. What fruit has this borne in your life? Peace or anxiety, honor or diminishment, strengthening or depletion? My word teaches you to discern by outcomes, not by advertisements. If something is from me, it will draw you to love me more, make you freer, and anchor you in faithfulness. If something pulls you away from intimacy with me, no matter how beautiful it appears, it is an anchor set in the wrong place. I have also warned you by allowing prayers to go unanswered. You have asked me to bless what I did not build. I cannot bless a foundation that is not set upon the rock. When your prayer meets a wall of silence, you think I have turned my back. In truth, I am guarding your back from a cliff's edge. My silence is not hollow. It is dense, as the air between you and a bullet. Because of it, the bullet loses its force. Because of it, you remain whole. Remember the workers in Nehemiah's day rebuilding the wall. One hand held tools, the other kept a weapon. You too must build and keep watch. Build with thanksgiving, with quiet hours, with resetting your boundaries. Keep watch with discernment, with the courage to say no, with stepping out of the group chats that scatter your mind. These small things are bricks. A wall is not raised by speeches. It is raised by rightly placed stones day after day. Some tell you endurance is love. I tell you love rejoices with the truth. When what is called love asks you to hide the light that is compromise, not virtue. When romance lures you away from the altar, it is no longer grace but a yoke. The burden I give is gentle and the yoke I give is light. If your shoulders are bruised, look again at who laid that beam upon you. You fear that letting go means losing. But you cannot lose what is yours by covenant with me. You are simply returning what you have held too long. What passes through my hands for you will remain. What is not yours I remove by mercy. So when you hear footsteps fading, bless them and close the door softly. The sound of a door closing is not a funeral bell. It is the prelude to a tender silence where I will place in your hands things made to fit. You still ask, what other signs, Father? Look at yourself after every encounter. Do you come away lighter or heavier? Do you want to pray more or do you want to hide from me? Are you more generous or more calculating? Do you gain a voice or lose it? In my light, every interaction leaves an aftersound. That resonance either leads you into the sanctuary or pushes you back into the marketplace's clamor. Be honest about the aftersound. My child, I know some of my warnings make you tremble, and some of my actions have wounded you. You have asked, why would you let me hurt? Why didn't you spare me these cracks? Hear me. I have never harmed you to punish you. I have used pain as a mirror, so you might see what is imprisoning your soul. Sometimes only a fractured heart lets the light in. I am the Father of life, not the sower of misery, but I am the one who knows that if you are not awakened, your soul will sleep on in the world's sweet sedation. You have treated pain as proof of my absence, yet precisely in your pain I am nearest. When your lesser joys collapse, I am clearing the road for the joy that is true. When you lose what you thought was everything, I am freeing you from the chains you tied around your own neck. Remember Job, the righteous man I allowed to be tested not because he had sinned, but to show the world that true faith stands even with nothing left to cling to. I am doing likewise in you. When I permit you to pass through sorrow, it is not rejection. It is training your soul into a vessel for the kingdom. Job did not know that every tear he shed was a proclamation for the ages. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Job 1:3-1-5. So too every sigh you breathe today resounds in eternity like a hymn of faith rising from the ashes. You prayed for peace, and I answered with a dividing line. You prayed for strength, and I sent a trial. You prayed for wisdom, and I set you amid hard choices. Not because I ignored you, but because only experience engraves truth into the soul. A seed sprouts only when buried and broken. Without winter, there is no spring. Without the cross, there is no resurrection. Do not treat suffering as your enemy. It is my messenger. It knocks to tell you something within needs to be made new. Pain is never pointless when you bring it to me. I can turn ashes into gardens, tears into rivers of grace, the seeming end into the beginning of a new road. You think I am taking, I am making room. You think I am tearing down, I am laying a truer foundation. When I remove those you thought would walk with you for life, it is not to leave you lonely, but to teach you the difference between companionship and dependency. Some I send to write a chapter, not the entire book, but you, fearing blank pages, tried to keep them with tears. When I pulled them from your story, you thought I was breaking your heart. I was saving it from being misshapen by hands not gentle enough to hold it. I know in that moment you could scarcely breathe. You wanted to flee reality to return to days untouched by loss. Yet that is when I am closest. When you weep in the night with no words left to pray, I am not far. I kneel beside your bed, catching every tear and sowing them as seed. I know the name of every ache, every choking sob, every thought you dare not speak. I do not watch from a distance. I walk with you through the fire, as I walked with the three in Babylon's furnace. Do you remember? When they were thrown into the flames, onlookers counted not 3 but 4, because I was among them. Daniel 3:2-5. Likewise, when you are in the midst of pain, do not count your wounds. Count our steps together. The fire will not consume you. It will burn away the ropes. When you emerge, you will be unrecognizable because you will have been refined. They will see the light in your eyes and know I was with you. I use sorrow as a crucible, for there is no other way to separate gold from dross. You cannot shine in this world while clinging to what dims your light. As the vine must be pruned to bear much fruit, you must accept my cutting away of branches that do not bless. Pruning hurts, but if left wild, those shoots will drink the sap dry. You will wither while thinking yourself green. Suffering is the baptism of the soul. It bows your head and stills you to hear me more clearly. You have never been nearer to me than when you are broken, for then you have nothing left to hide behind. No words to defend yourself, only one cry, Lord have mercy, and when you whisper it, heaven opens. Not one of your cries falls into the void. Not one tear is meaningless. Every single one is written upon my heart. My beloved child, pain does not define you, it shapes you. It does not declare that you are weak. It proclaims that you are being refined. It does not mean I have abandoned you. It means I am preparing you for greater glory. For every scar upon your spiritual body is a mark of a battle already won. And when I look at those scars, I do not see pain, I see victory. I see that you did not turn back when you could have. I see that you kept your faith when every part of you wanted to surrender. You may not understand now. You may still whisper, why? But a day will come when you look back and say, without those things, I would never have known how near the Lord truly was. Wisdom is not found in answers. It is born in the journey of walking with me through the questions that remain unsolved. And in every question you will find my hand. I know there are nights when you gaze into the heavens and feel surrounded by silence, but in that silence I am working. Like a potter turning his wheel in the night, I am shaping your soul according to the design of heaven. You cannot hear the slow rhythm of the wheel, yet your form is changing. And when I finish, you will understand why I chose to work through pain. If I allowed you to live in comfort forever, your soul would fall asleep in mediocrity. But I love you too much to let you rest in your own wandering. So do not fear what is happening. Do not fear loss or loneliness or tears. Behind every sorrow is a sacred intention. When I break, it is to reshape. When I am silent, it is to make you listen. When I take it away, it is so you may learn to receive what cannot be stolen. And when I let you fall, it is so you may know who it is that lifts you up again. Therefore, if you hear my voice today, do not harden your heart. Let pain become the meeting place, not the wall between us. Let your tears become prayers, not complaints. Let your trials become my touch, not the lash of wrath, but the flame of love. For only true love dares to touch the wound, and only true love dares to wound once, so that you might be free forever. I am renewing your soul through this journey. Do not resist, do not run, do not try to heal yourself in your own way. Let me do it, for I know precisely where to touch and where a single word will restore. When I am finished, you will no longer fear pain, for you will have learned that even in suffering, I am there. My beloved child, there is a battle unfolding within your soul, not between you and the world, but between your heart and my spirit. Your heart, which I designed to feel, to love, to resonate, is now trying to lead instead of obey. It beats, it longs, it aches, and it convinces itself that emotion is truth. But I tell you this, the heart is not a compass unless it rests in my hand. When the heart takes the throne and my spirit is pushed aside, every decision becomes a labyrinth of feeling, where light fades into the shadows of illusion. I have warned you before, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Jeremiah 1:7-9. I did not say this to shame you, but to remind you that when your heart is no longer guided by me, it can betray even itself. It can make you love what will harm you, despise what will save you, cling to what drains you, and reject what gives life. It can make you mistake intensity for truth when it is merely the echo of unhealed hunger. It can make you believe passion is destiny when it is only the cry of an unsatisfied soul. Your heart is a gift, but without my spirit, it becomes an untamed fire. It can warm, but it can also consume. It can illuminate, but it can also destroy what is good. When you let emotions steer you, you are like a sailor lost in a storm without a compass. The waves push you forward, your feelings pull you back, and you spin in circles thinking you're moving ahead while you're caught in the swirl of fear and unmet desire. I know you do not mean to resist me. You are simply confused between listening to your heart and listening to my voice. You've been told to be honest with your feelings, but you forget that honesty does not mean obedience. Emotions are not the enemy, but they are not God either. They are signals, smoke that tells you something is burning inside. But instead of finding the source of the fire, you chase the smoke, losing yourself in the fog of your own heart. When feelings lead, reason is silenced, and my spirit becomes a forgotten guest. You will choose what feels urgent over what is eternal. You will love those I told you to avoid, cling to what I asked you to release, and weep over what I never promised to give. I have watched you sit in the dark, clutching your chest, asking, "Where did I go wrong?" when the answer is simple. You let emotion decide where faith should have led. I do not wish to make your heart cold. I want it to be trained. I do not want you numb. I want you healed, so that your emotions may become instruments of my spirit, not barriers against it. When I rule your heart, I do not kill its feelings, I sanctify them. I turn fear into holy caution, pain into compassion, love into a force of healing, and tears into seeds of mercy. But if you guard your heart from me, it will consume itself in endless cycles: love, hurt, forget, repeat. You once said, "But my feelings are too strong. I can't control them." And I said, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit." Zechariah 4:6. You cannot control the heart, but you can surrender it. When you yield, I will guard it. When you listen, I will lead. When you are weak, I will lift. Trust me, for I know every beat. I know when it pulses from true love and when it trembles from fear. I know when it opens in grace and when it quivers in temptation. Nothing in you is hidden from me. The world will tell you, "Follow your heart," but I say, "Give me your heart." The world says feelings are your compass, but I say my word is a lamp to your feet. Psalm 119:105. The world says, "Do what makes you happy," but I say, "Do what makes you holy." For happiness changes with the day, but holiness is the foundation of everlasting peace. Your heart often longs to run toward the noise, to the places where emotions are stirred, where people say the things you want to hear. Yet my spirit dwells in stillness, in the whisper of the wind, in the slow rhythm of breath, in the moment you sit and say, "Lord, show me the way." It is then that I will speak. But if you continue to let emotions lead, you will only hear the echo of your own voice. The greatest danger is not false feelings, but feelings that appear true because they make you believe you are walking in the right direction while you are slowly drifting away from me. You once said, "But I feel peace when I am with them." My child, not every peace comes from me. There is a peace born of compromise, of self-comfort, of silencing the conscience. But my peace is different. It does not numb you, it makes you free. It does not lull you to sleep, it makes you awake. It does not drown you in forgetfulness. It sharpens your awareness. If your peace leads you away from prayer, dulls your desire to listen to me, or lessens your willingness to forgive, that is not my peace. It is the gentle intoxication of the soul. Understand this: emotions are not wrong, but they must never reign. When they rule, reason grows dim, and the soul becomes imprisoned by reaction. Every time you act on emotion alone, you write another chapter of weariness. But when you allow my spirit to rule, emotions remain, yet they find their proper place. Anger becomes the fuel for prayer. Sorrow becomes the bridge to mercy. Fear becomes a cry for help, and love becomes a mission. Then your heart is no longer a restless master, but a faithful servant of the one who made it. Look back, my child, at how many times emotions have led you astray. How many times you promised to wait for me, yet rushed toward what comforted you. How many times you asked for guidance, but when my answer came slower than your feelings, you chose your own way and paid the price in tears. I did not delight in your pain. I wept with you. Yet I also knew that sometimes only through tears would you lift your eyes to me. My beloved, learn to say wait. Waiting is not abandonment, it is worship in silence. Waiting is the mark of mature faith. When you wait, emotions settle, and the Spirit speaks. When you wait, truth reveals itself, and the false fades away. Waiting is how you let me do what you cannot. Remember, your heart was not created to rule, but to reflect. It is not the source of light, but the still water that mirrors my face. If you keep that water clear, my light will shine through it. But if you let the winds of emotion stir it, you will see only a distorted image of yourself. So let the wind of my Spirit calm you within. Let me teach your heart how to love without losing itself, how to feel without being enslaved, how to move with passion yet remain awake. My child, I call you today, place your heart back in its rightful position. Let my Spirit take your hand and lead you through the waves of emotion. Do not fear when I strip away your control. Surrender is not loss, it is protection. For I do not want you to live by what you feel. I want you to live by what I speak. Feelings will change, but my words never will. You will see that when you yield control to me, everything within you becomes lighter. You will no longer ask, "Is this right?" but quietly rest in the knowing God is with me. You will no longer fear your emotions because you will know they no longer rule you. They have been sanctified to serve my glory. And that my beloved is the beginning of true freedom when your heart bows before my spirit and your soul knows it has finally found home. Sit still and let your heart grow quiet, for I am about to reveal to you a hidden truth, one that has led many souls astray under the name of love. There are many things in this world called love, but not all love comes from me. There is love that gives life and love that destroys. There is love that lifts you toward heaven and love that pulls you into the depths. And in that fragile place, the line between love and bondage becomes blurred. You must learn to see through the light of truth, not through the fire of your emotions. My child, true love that comes from me never causes you to lose yourself. It does not drain your spirit nor force you to shrink to fit another's mold nor make you tremble when you must speak the truth. True love does not require compromise with darkness to keep someone near. It does not ask you to deceive yourself to preserve an illusion. Instead, true love expands the soul, sets you free, strengthens you, and draws you closer to me. For I am love itself, and whatever truly comes from me will always lead you back to me. But false attachments, oh my child, they are so subtle. They wear the garments of affection, borrowing names like twin flame destiny or soulmate, yet beneath them lie dependency, fear, manipulation, and sometimes obsession disguised in sweet words. They come to you in warmth, but leave you empty. They make you believe you are loved when you are merely possessed. They make you think you are giving when you are being drained. I have seen you fall into those traps many times, not because you are weak, but because you love with a heart that has not yet been healed. You have mistaken familiarity for destiny. You have confused a familiar spirit with one sent by me. But my child, not every familiar spirit is holy. Some come to repeat old cycles of pain, patterns of false rescue, emotional dependence, and spiritual exhaustion. They make you feel as if you've known them before, because the enemy wants you to relive lessons you have yet to overcome. It whispers, "This is the love God sent," so that you remain bound in what I have long tried to set you free from. I have watched you cling to relationships that wound you, calling it loyalty. You have sacrificed unconditionally, not realizing that sacrifice for what is not of me is self-destruction. You have believed that love means endless endurance, yet I tell you that love rejoices in the truth. 1 Corinthians 1:3-6. If what you call love forces you to hide, to justify, to live in halves, then it is no longer love. It is a chain wrapped in the ribbons of emotion. You ask, "But how will I know which love is true?" My child, the answer is always found in your heart when it stands in my light. True love brings peace, not anxiety. It makes you grow, not shrink. It draws you closer to me, not away. It stirs you to pray, not to hide. It helps you live honestly, not behind masks. True love does not fear losing the other because it rests on trust and freedom. It never demands control, for it knows that love cannot be kept by chains. You once thought that when I removed someone from your life, I was taking love away, but I have never taken love from you. I only remove the false attachments that disguise themselves as love. I take away what has taken my place in your heart, so that you may know what true love is, the kind that does not wound. You have wept bitterly for those who left, not realizing that if they had stayed, you would have lost yourself. You believed they were the light, yet they were only reflecting the light within you. When that light faded, you thought they took it with them, but you simply forgot that the true source of light is me, not them. True love is not "we need each other to survive," but we walk together to glorify the one who made us. It does not say I cannot live without you, but rather, because of God I can love you rightly. It does not arise from fear of loss, but from surrender. It does not flow out of lack, but from fullness. If your love constantly demands proof, if it makes you feel like you must earn worthiness, if you fear to speak your pain for fear of being abandoned, then you are bound by a covenant I have not blessed. My child, true love is not a fire that flares and dies, but an oil lamp that never burns out. It is fed by patience, understanding, forgiveness, and mutual honor. It does not prove itself through intensity, but through endurance. When I created love, I did not anchor it in fleeting emotion, but in steadfast choice. Therefore, true love is not I feel, but I decide. You must learn to discern between emotional connection and spiritual covenant. Emotional connection can appear quickly like lightning flashing across the sky, but covenant requires time testing and endurance. Emotion can begin a relationship, but only covenant can sustain it in my light. Emotion says, I want you, while covenant says, I choose you no matter what. Emotion says, I love you because you make me happy, while covenant says, I love you because God loved me first. Many in this world mistake soul ties for divine love. They do not realize that some bonds are born from wounds, not grace. A wounded soul will seek another wounded soul, and both will cling to each other, hoping the other will fill their emptiness. But my child, no one can heal the wounds that only I can touch. When two unhealed souls hold on to each other, their bond becomes like two people gripping a burning rope. They think they are holding hands, but they are burning one another. Today I call you, let go of false attachments. You need not hate nor resent, only release them into my hands. When you let go, I will heal you. When you let go, I will renew you. When you let go, you will make room for what is real. You cannot receive new wine in an old vessel. You cannot step into true love while still clinging to what I have asked you to release. I know letting go hurts. You think letting go means forgetting, but it means remembering rightly. It means looking back without bitterness, blessing those who have departed, and knowing I have ordered all things for your good. Letting go is not indifference, it is trust. When you place that person in my hands, you are saying, I trust that you know better than I who should stay and who should go. And that is true faith, faith that clings not to feelings, but to my unchanging nature. Remember my words. What comes from me will never require you to sacrifice your peace to keep it. If you must trade your peace to hold on, it is not from me. If you must drift away from me to hold someone close, you are holding an illusion. If you must hide your calling, dim your light, or lessen your holiness to seem compatible, then you are betraying the purpose for which I created you. True love will never pull you off the path I have chosen. It will walk with you upon it. So, beloved, let me teach you how to love again, to love without fear, without dependence, with freedom in the Spirit. Let the love within you no longer come from emptiness, but from abundance. When you know you are already fully loved in me, you will no longer beg others to love you rightly. You will love without needing to possess, give without needing return, and forgive without needing reason. That is true love, love sanctified by truth. Love that sets you free, strengthens you, and makes you like me, my beloved child. Emotions are a gift I placed within you, not chains to enslave you. They were created not to rule, but to reflect. But the world has distorted this gift, teaching you that emotion is the measure of truth, that if you do not feel, you are not alive. So you have chased emotional waves like one who runs after the wind, believing that the more intense, the more real, the more painful, the more deep. Yet emotions, when unsanctified, become storms that sweep you away from the harbor of my Spirit's peace. I do not call you to suppress emotion. I call you to surrender it. Emotion is not the enemy of the soul. It only needs to be washed in the waters of truth. When I say love with all your heart, I do not ask you to love blindly, but to love with a heart purified and taught by my Spirit. Such a heart is not swayed by fleeting impulses, not deceived by flattering words, nor ruled by the fear of loneliness. It knows how to love at the right time, in the right way, the right person, and above all, it knows to love me first. Let me teach you the mystery of sanctified emotion. To sanctify does not mean to erase, but to put in order. When I enter your heart, I do not extinguish fire, I direct it. Emotion ceases to be the current that drags you away and becomes the wind that carries your sail of faith forward. When I sit on the throne of your heart, fear turns into holy reverence. Anger becomes the fire that defends righteousness. Sorrow becomes the doorway to compassion, and joy becomes the language of thanksgiving. You have long seen emotions as something to control, but I do not want you to control them. I want you to surrender them to the Spirit. When you try to control, you fight by your own strength. When you yield, I do what you cannot. For my child, the Spirit does not come to suppress. He comes to transform. He does not make you hard. He makes you steadfast. He does not make you numb. He makes you kind, yet wise in boundaries. That is the beauty of a sanctified soul, gentle, yet firm, tender, yet unshakable, loving deeply without losing itself in love. You must understand that when emotions are sanctified, they become the language of the Spirit within you. A tear no longer means weakness, but prayer through tears. Righteous anger is no longer impulsive, but a flame guarding truth. Pain is no longer a pit of despair, but fertile soil for new seeds to grow. I designed emotions to help you feel the rhythm of heaven, but only when they are washed in the light of grace. You ask, how will I know which emotions come from the Spirit and which from the flesh? My child, the answer lies in their fruit. Every emotion born of me brings peace, clarity, and life. Every emotion born of the flesh brings confusion, exhaustion, and turmoil. The emotions of my Spirit make you humble. The emotions of the flesh make you guarded. The emotions of my Spirit lead you to pray. Those of the flesh make you react. When you learn to discern this, you will no longer fear your emotions. You will listen to them as a student listens to his teacher. There are times I let you feel empty, not because I have left, but because I want you to know that emotion is not the measure of my presence. There are times I let you weep, not because I do not hear, but because I want you to know that tears can cleanse more than explanations ever could. And there are times I allow your heart to feel torn, loving yet fearful, believing yet doubting, so that you might learn the greater lesson, how to love without losing your soul. To love without losing your soul means to love in freedom, not in dependency. It means you can give fully without demanding return because you are already filled in me. It means you can feel pain without despair because true love never dies. It means you can say no to what is not of me and still remain gentle. It means you can let go without feeling empty. When you love with a sanctified heart, you no longer need to cling because you know that what is from me will remain and what is not will leave in peace. I do not want you to become stone to avoid pain. I want you to become gold, soft in the fire, yet never destroyed, pliable in the potter's hands, yet never shattered. To be so, you must let me refine your emotions in the fire of truth. At times I will allow situations that provoke you easily, so that you may see where your emotions need shaping. At times I will let you face those who anger you, so that you may learn to turn wrath into mercy. And sometimes I will let you love one who does not love you back, so that you may learn that love is not a bargain but an offering. When I say love your enemies, I do not mean to be weak, but to let my Spirit love through you. That is sanctified love. Love that flows not from emotion but from essence. It does not arise from reaction but from life itself. It does not ask, is this person worthy, but how can I reflect you, Lord, in this moment? When you love in that way, you will find that emotions no longer control you. No one will be able to define your worth because you have already found it in my eyes. And then you will understand that true love is not merely a feeling but a presence. It is my breath within you, my light reflected through your eyes, my hand when you embrace another. When you love by the Spirit, every word you speak becomes healing, and every action you take becomes a message of grace. You will no longer fear loving, because you will know you are loving by my strength, not your own. My child, let me teach you to love like this. Let me teach you to keep your heart soft without being weak, fervent without being blind, faithful without becoming dependent. Let me renew your emotions so that every tear becomes a prayer, every smile a mark of grace, and every stirring of your heart an opportunity for me to reveal my love through you. Then you will know what true freedom in love is, neither running from your emotions nor being ruled by them. You will walk through a turbulent world and still keep your inner peace. You will love without fearing betrayal, knowing that true love cannot be betrayed. You will give without fearing depletion, because your source of life never runs dry. And you will realize that after all, the purpose of love is not for you to find someone, but for you to find me, the source of every holy emotion, the love that never changes. My beloved child, let the love within you be sanctified today. Let me touch the deepest places of your soul where you still hide unhealed emotions. I will not shame you. I will set you free. I will not take your heart away. I will return it to you, remade strong, pure, and full of grace. For I have spoken, I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 3:6-6. A new heart, not cold, not fragile, but radiant with my love. Beloved, there are things in your life that will never open until you learn the secret of obedience. For obedience is not merely an action, but a posture of the heart, a complete surrender in trust, even when you do not understand. The world teaches that obedience is weakness, that it strips away freedom. But I tell you, obedience is the strength of a mature soul. It is in obedience that miracles are released in surrender, that destiny is shaped, and at the sound of yes, that all of heaven moves. My child, true obedience does not spring from fear, but from love. When a child knows who his father is, he no longer sees the father's words as a burden, but as protection. Like a little one holding his father's hand while crossing a crowded street, he does not need to know every signal. He only needs to know the Father's hand will never let go. I want you to walk with me like that, not because you fear punishment, but because you trust that I know the way. You do not need to see the whole map. You need only to trust that I am the way, John 1:4-6. I know you like to be independent. You want to understand, to control, to plan the future by your own reasoning. You believe that if you prepare well enough, you will avoid mistakes. But my child, human wisdom is but a small lamp in a raging storm. It may light a few steps, but it cannot guide you through thunder and lightning. Only my light can lead you through the night, and that light blazes when you obey. For obedience opens the channel through which the Spirit moves. You once asked me, why do you require my obedience? If you are almighty, I smiled, for I do not need your obedience to be powerful. I desire it to impart power to you. Obedience is the key you place in my hand, so that I may open the door of blessing, protection, and destiny. I never force that door because I honor your free will. But when you say, Lord, I obey, the locks of heaven begin to turn. You cannot see it with your eyes, but angels begin to move, darkness recedes, and the road ahead is cleared. Do not underestimate the power of a small act of obedience. Noah obeyed and built an ark in a desert, though he had never seen rain, and through him humanity was preserved. Abraham obeyed and left his country, though he did not know his destination, and became the father of faith. Moses obeyed and lifted his staff over the Red Sea, and the waters parted. Mary obeyed and said, Let it be to me according to your word, and the word became flesh. And you, little soul whom I have chosen, what about you? Perhaps I am calling you to a small thing to release, to forgive, to pause, or to step forward. Yet that small thing is a great piece in an eternal design. You often think obedience comes after understanding, but in my kingdom you obey first and understand later. Only as you step does the light advance. If you wait until everything is clear, you will never begin. Faith does not require a map, it requires a word. When I asked Abraham to offer Isaac, he did not wait for an explanation, he went. And in the going he came to know me as the Lord who provides. Had he waited to understand, the miracle would never have happened. You say you want to step into destiny, but destiny does not open by many prayers alone, it opens by obedience. You may pray 1,000 prayers, yet a single act of obedience can move heaven. Obedience is the language angels know best, for it is the sound of heaven. When you obey, you harmonize with heaven. When you resist, you fall into the discord of the world. My child, I know obedience is hard, especially when it asks you to release what you love. But understand this, I never take anything from you unless I intend to give you something better. You are clutching a seed and weeping while I long to place a garden in your hands, but you cannot receive the garden while you hold the old seed tight. Obedience may feel like loss, but it is a divine exchange. You give the finite to receive the infinite. Obedience is not for my pleasure, but for your safety. When you step outside my will, you step beyond the hedge of protection. The enemy cannot touch you while you are within the circle of my purpose, but if you cross the fence, he waits. I do not place fences to imprison, but to preserve, like a shepherd's rod, guiding the sheep not to strike it, but to keep it from the cliff. Every time I say no, it is because I see a chasm you cannot yet see. Every time I say wait, it is because I am preparing something beyond your imagination. Every time I say go, it is because angels have already prepared the way. My child, obedience does not require perfection, only willingness. I do not seek the strong, I seek the bowed. When you bow, I lift you up. When you say yes, I do the rest. For your obedience does not flow from your ability, but from your love. When you love me, you will trust me. When you trust me, you will obey me. And when you obey, you will see miracles. Look back over your life, my child. The greatest turning points did not come from the plans you made, but from the moments you obeyed before you understood. It was when you released control that I opened the doors. It was when you waited that I moved. It was when you said, I can't, but please, Lord, you can, that I turned the impossible into possible. I never asked you to always be brave. I only asked you to obey in the midst of fear. True faith is not walking when you are certain, it is stepping forward while trembling, yet still believing I go before you. Do you remember when Peter stepped out of the boat? He did not wait for the storm to calm. He walked while the wind still roared, his eyes fixed on me. And when he looked down, he began to sink. But when he cried, Lord, save me, I took his hand. Obedience is not the absence of fear, it is the courage to move despite it. Each act of obedience, my child, is a victory, not an outward triumph, but an inner one. For in every act of surrender, the flesh loses its dominion, and the spirit gains new ground within you. When you obey, heaven expands inside your heart. It is a silent victory, yet it resounds throughout eternity. You will see that obedience does not make you smaller, it makes you stronger in true freedom. It does not take away your voice. It gives your voice resonance because it beats in rhythm with the heart of heaven. It does not steal your dreams. It leads them back to where they were born in my will. Every true victory begins with obedience. Not obedience out of fear, but out of trust. Not out of compulsion, but out of love. Not to earn a reward, but because you have realized that I am your reward. And when you understand this, you will no longer see obedience as a burden, you will see it as a privilege. To obey me is to walk beside the Creator of all things. So today, if you hear my voice, whether it says, go wait, let go, or simply believe, respond, even if only in a whisper, Father, I obey. For that word, my child, is the key that opens doors you never knew existed. My beloved child, I know how many times you have stood before a closed door and wept. You have knocked, prayed, pleaded, waiting for me to open it, and when I did not, you felt abandoned, forgotten, rejected. You said, Lord, why don't you hear me? But my child, you did not know that my silence was the answer, and that the closed door was mercy itself. For there are doors which, if opened, would destroy you. There are things you have begged for through tears, that if granted would have withered your soul. There are people you wanted to stay, but had they remained, you would never have grown. I do not close doors to harm you. I close them to protect you from what you cannot yet see. Your eyes are limited to the moment, but I see the eternal picture. You see a smooth road, but I see the pit ahead. You see opportunity, but I see the bait of temptation. You see a charming face, but I see an unhealed spirit that could pull you off the path I designed. So when I close a door, know that I am not rejecting you, I am rescuing you. Some doors I close, not for the present, but for the future. Because I have placed a great calling on your life, and certain people, places, or paths would lead you astray. I do not close doors to punish, but to realign. When you see a wall, remember that I am building a fence around your vineyard to keep thieves away. Every door that shuts is an act of preservation, not deprivation. I remember when you prayed and begged me not to let someone leave. You believed that losing them meant losing everything. But you did not know that in letting them go, I was giving you back to yourself. You had tied your worth to someone's presence and forgotten that your true value lies in the hands of your Creator. When you lost them, you did not lose love. You lost the illusion that you needed them to live, and that, my child, was the beginning of your spiritual freedom. There are things you have prayed for that I have not yet given, not because I do not want to, but because it is not yet time. A seed planted in winter will die in the cold, even if it is a good seed. I never say no when I am only saying not yet. My delay is not neglect, it is preparation. I am preparing you to receive and preparing the gift to be worthy of you. For if I give something good at the wrong time, even the good will become a burden. Look at Abraham, he had to wait. Moses waited 40 years in the desert. Joseph waited in a prison cell. David waited among the fields. Even my son Jesus waited for the appointed time to reveal his glory. None of them were forgotten. I was refining them through delay, so that when the door opened, they could walk through without collapsing under the weight of blessing. You ask me, Lord, why not show me the reason sooner? Because if I showed you everything, you would no longer need faith. Faith is not born in certainty. It grows in the shadows of closed doors. Each time you stand before one, I am testing whether you trust the door or trust me. If you trust the door, you will despair when it closes. But if you trust me, you will rest, knowing that if I close, I have a reason, and if I wish, I can open it at any time. I am not only the one who opens doors, I am also the one who closes them. And my love is often revealed, not in what I grant, but in what I withhold. When I say no, you may weep, but heaven rejoices, for it knows that my no has saved your soul from a path of ruin. You may resent me now for not letting you go your own way, but one day you will look back and whisper, Lord, thank you for closing that door. I remember the times you knocked so hard that your hands bled. I saw it and I wept with you. But if I had opened the door just because of your tears, I would have been a sentimental father, not a wise one. A loving father does not give a child everything he wants, but everything he needs. Just as a surgeon cuts to heal, I sometimes must remove what you love to save what remains. Understand, my child, that my denial is never the end. It is redirection. I do not close doors, so you may sit in sorrow, but so you may walk toward another, the door of growth, of understanding, of destiny. When a season closes, another begins. When someone leaves, I prepare another. When an old door shuts, I am already crafting the key to the new one. You think I am taking away, but I am only rearranging. There are doors I close because your prayers are misaligned. You pray for what makes you happy while I long to give what makes you holy. You ask for what makes you stand out while I desire to give what makes you fruitful. You seek what makes you comfortable while I prepare what will make you strong. That difference may wound you, but it is proof that I am not a wish granter to your desires. I am a father shaping your destiny. When I close a door, it may seem like everything stops, but that is the very moment everything truly begins. For when the outer door shuts, the inner door of your heart opens. When you have nowhere else to lean, you begin to look up. When you have no one else to hold on to, you discover that I am the only foundation that cannot be shaken. And then you will see that the true blessing is not in the door that opens, but in learning to trust me, even when it stays closed. My child, every time I say no, I am teaching you the language of heaven, the language of absolute trust. For in heaven there is no fear, no doubt, no pleading. There is only this: your will be done. When you learn to say those words through your tears, you have already triumphed. When you can say, your will be done, and still feel peace within heaven rejoices. For you have entered the deepest realm of faith, where you no longer love the blessing more than the one who blesses. And then when the appointed time comes, I will reopen the doors I once closed. But you will step through them differently, no longer trembling, no longer fearing loss, no longer striving to prove yourself. You will walk through as one who knows that every door is merely a tool, not the destination. You will walk in freedom because you will have learned that what matters is not which door opens, but who holds the key. Today I tell you this: if you stand before a closed door, do not panic. Place your hand upon it and whisper, Lord, if you close it, I trust you know what is best. Then turn away in peace, for I never close a door without opening a path. And that path, though it may be narrow, steep, and lonely, will lead you to where the light never fades and peace never ends. My beloved child, faith is not when you see clearly. It is when you keep walking, even when all you see is darkness. Faith is not a feeling, it is a choice to trust in my nature even when circumstances scream the opposite. You once said to me, Lord, if you show me a sign, I will believe. But I said to you, if you believe, you will see. John 1:14. For faith always precedes revelation. It does not wait for the light to shine. It walks until light appears. There will be times, my child, when I lead you through uncharted lands. You will feel alone, stripped of human assurance, cut off from familiar sources of comfort. But in that emptiness you will learn that faith does not sprout in ease, it blooms in wilderness. When I strip away what you once depended on, it is not to abandon you, but to teach you to lean on me alone. For as long as you have other supports, you will never know the strength of true trust. I remember when you trembled between two paths, unsure which to choose. You prayed for a clear sign, but instead of a map I gave you a single word, go, and you were afraid because you wanted to see the destination. You thought faith was confidence, but faith is surrender. It does not say I know, but rather I believe that you know. It does not say everything is certain, but even in uncertainty, you are good. Do not despise your fear or your doubt, my child. They are the soil where faith takes root. Without fear, you would never learn courage. Without darkness, you would never value light. Without moments of silence, you would never learn to hear my whisper. Faith does not remove fear, it chooses to stand firm in the midst of it. When Gideon was called, he said, I am the least of the least. Yet I looked upon him and said, mighty warrior. He did not believe, but he still moved, and in the moving his faith was born. When you walk forward despite fear, your faith is being born too. For faith does not grow in calm, it grows in the storm. Each time you choose to take one more step when fear tells you to stop, you win an invisible battle. You say, "But Lord, I am weak." And I answer, "My grace is sufficient for you." 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. You say, "I don't know the way." I answer, "I am the way." You say, "I don't think I can." I say, "I will do it through you." My child, faith does not require you to be strong. It requires you to trust the strength of the one within you. When you believe that strength is activated, when you step, heaven moves. When you say, "Though I cannot see, I still believe," all of heaven bends low to listen. Remember this: Peter only learned that water could hold a man when he stepped out of the boat. If he had waited to understand the mechanics of the miracle, he would have never walked. In the same way, you will never see what I have prepared if you remain where it feels safe. Faith does not demand understanding, it demands obedience. And obedience will lead you into understanding. As you walk, what was once unclear will grow bright. My child, I do not desire you to have a faith confined to church walls, but a faith that walks among the noise of the marketplace. A faith that smiles when misunderstood, that loves when wounded, that forgives when betrayed, that sings praises even through tears. True faith is not proven by eloquent prayers, but by steadfastness in the smallest acts. You do not need to do something grand to show your belief. Just take one step, even a trembling one, and it is faith. There will be times when I will not lead you along smooth roads, but through the valley of the shadow of death. Not because I have forgotten you, but because only there can you learn to trust me in the dark. When every other light goes out, you will discover that I am the light that never fades. When every other hand withdraws, you will know that mine never lets go. When every human promise fails, you will see that my word stands forever. You will come to know, beloved, that faith is not the absence of uncertainty, but the decision to keep walking through it. Faith is not the silence of fear, but the refusal to let fear command you. Faith is not a loud shout. It is a quiet yes whispered from a trusting heart, and that small whisper is enough to shake the heavens. When you learn to live by faith, you will see a miracle unfold. Every step you take is guided, even when you do not perceive it. You may think you are lost, but I am still writing your path. You may think you are late, but I am keeping perfect time. You may think you are forgotten, but I am holding you in my hands. For true faith does not depend on knowing what lies ahead, it depends on knowing who goes before. Faith will not make your life easier, but it will make you stronger. It will not silence the storm, but it will teach you how to walk through it without breaking. It will not keep you from tears, but it will turn your tears into rain that nourishes your soul. It will not spare you from failure, but it will transform failure into wisdom. It will not protect you from pain, but it will make your pain a testimony of grace. And you will realize that when you walk by faith, you are walking in rhythm with heaven. Every step you take is a heartbeat of life. Every breath you draw is a silent prayer. Every second you choose to believe, darkness loses its power a little more. And as you remain steadfast in faith, not only your life will be transformed, but generations after you will be blessed. Do not wait until fear disappears before stepping forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is walking even when afraid. Let faith lead before emotion. Let my word be louder than the noise of your circumstances. Let your soul speak to your fear and say, I believe. And when you do, you will see me there, not far, not late, not silent, but holding your hand, just as I held Peter's in the storm. My child, the journey of faith does not end with prayer, it begins with movement. When you walk, you will see the waters part, the doors open, the heart soften, and the heavens unfold. As you walk, fear loses its hold, doubt loses its chains, because you are walking with the Almighty. So today, even if you have just a small spark of faith left, I say, use it. If you have only one breath of belief remaining, exhale it in prayer, Lord, I believe. For even a mustard seed of faith can move mountains. And when you give that seed to me, I will plant it within your heart, and it will grow into a great tree where many will find rest in its shade. My beloved child, step forward. Do not look back. Do not fear. Do not wait. Step because I am beside you. Every step you take, heaven moves with you. Every step you trust, darkness retreats. Every step you surrender, new life flows in. And when you look back, you will see that every small step of faith led you to a great victory, not a victory of the flesh, but of the soul. My child, do not tremble when I lead you into the fire, for the fire is not your enemy, it is my instrument. Fire is not meant to destroy you, but to melt away what was never part of you, so that the pure essence of your soul may shine forth. Just as a refiner never takes his eyes off the furnace, I never take my eyes off you in the refining process. When I place you in the fire, I gaze upon you, not to see how long you can endure, but to wait until my image is reflected clearly within you, and only then will I say, "It is enough." You see, my child, you have prayed for maturity, for strength, for usefulness in my kingdom, but you did not know that such prayers come with a journey through fire. No gold is purified without heat, and no soul grows without trials. You cannot carry my light into the world if you have never walked through darkness. You cannot teach others to believe if your own faith has never been tested. You cannot embody patience unless you have been made to wait. I have heard you pray, "Lord, use me." And I have answered, "I will, but first I must cleanse you." Not because you are dirty, but because you are precious. A jewel is polished only through friction. A lamp shines only when oil is poured in and the wick is burned. I do not bring you into the fire to take away your value, but to reveal the value I placed within you. You will see when the fire comes, everything false will be exposed. Hidden motives, misguided desires, relationships not born of me, all will be tested, not to shame you, but to free you. For as long as something stands between you and me, you are not yet truly free. I love you too much to let you live in illusion even when truth hurts. For the pain of truth heals, while the comfort of deception kills the soul. The fire does not only come from outward trials, it rises from the battle within. You will feel yourself pulled between two wills, between what you want and what I desire, between your way and the Father's. That inner war is where refining begins. Every time you choose me over emotion, forgiveness over resentment, humility over pride, obedience over reaction, you are walking through fire, and every step turns you into heaven's pure gold. I know you are weary. I have heard you cry, "Lord, I can't take it anymore." But do not confuse weakness with failure. Weakness does not mean defeat. It means my strength is being perfected in you. When your strength runs out, mine begins to work. When you cannot, I can. When you fall, I lift you up. And in that very moment, when you think you have lost everything, you will discover a part of me. You never knew the one who is with you in the fire. Remember, my child, the story of the 3 friends in Nebuchadnezzar's furnace. They were thrown in because they refused to bow to the golden idol. The fire was so fierce it killed the guards standing nearby. Yet within the flames a 4th figure appeared. Daniel 3:2-5. The fire did not consume them. It only burned away their ropes. They walked freely in the midst of flames, and when they came out, not even the smell of smoke was upon them. You see, the fire of the world destroys, but my fire delivers. You are not being burned, you are being unbound. Often you will ask, "Lord, why don't you put out the fire?" And I will answer, "Because if I extinguish it too soon, you will emerge unfinished." A refiner does not remove gold from the furnace before its time. He waits until he can see his reflection on its surface. So I wait until your heart reflects mine, when your trust, humility, and love have been purified. Then the fire will have fulfilled its purpose, and I will say, "It is enough." My child, do not fear when I allow the fire to come. Let your tears fall, but do not let your faith fall. Lament if you must, but do not leave me. For every moment you endure with patience, heaven records it. Not one tear falls without my notice. Not one pain is wasted in my hands. When you endure in faith, I turn the fire into light, a light that guides others through their own darkness. Your life will become a testimony, not of ease, but of the spiritual strength that is forged through suffering. Do not think that fire robs you of blessing. On the contrary, fire is the pathway to blessing. Every time you are tested, I am granting you new authority. You cannot lead others through pain unless you yourself have walked through it. You cannot bring true comfort unless you have first been comforted by me. You cannot understand mercy unless you have been forgiven. Therefore, the fire is not merely a test, it is preparation for your calling. I am training you not to survive, but to overcome. A warrior is not forged on calm days, but in the midst of storms. A crown bearer is not crowned in comfort, but in battle. You are being trained for glory, and the fire is the final classroom. I do not want you to fear, I want you to understand. For when you understand the fire, you will begin to thank it. You will lift your head amid the trial and say, Lord, thank you for trusting me enough to refine me. My beloved child, I know the fire may make you weep, doubt, or wonder, Lord, where are you? But I am right there in the fire holding your soul. When you feel empty, it is because I am removing what is unnecessary. When you feel lost, it is because I am replacing the old with the new. When you feel alone, it is because I want you to hear only my voice. And when you emerge from the fire, you will not be the same. You will no longer fear as before. You will no longer live to please others. You will no longer be swayed by praise or shaken by criticism. You will know who you are, the one refined, the one marked by my hand. And your light will shine not because you try, but because the fire has made you pure. My child, the fire is not eternal. It lasts only until my purpose is fulfilled. Do not count the days, count the lessons. Do not ask when will it end. Ask what is it for. For when you understand the purpose of fire, you will no longer pray for me to extinguish it. You will pray, Lord, help me stand strong within it. And I will answer, you will not only stand, you will be renewed. When you come out of the furnace, you will carry the evidence of one who has passed through without being burned. You will tell the world that fire is real, but grace is greater. You will become a flame yourself, not because you escaped the fire, but because you were sanctified by it. And I will use you to reignite the hearts that have grown cold, to show them that trials are not signs of abandonment, but proofs of divine selection. Be steadfast, my child. Today's fire will become tomorrow's light. Do not fear the roar or the heat, for within them I am writing a new chapter of glory. When you emerge, they will ask, how did you survive? And you will smile and say, I did not survive. I was transformed, my beloved. When my fire comes, it touches not only your spirit, it reaches every area of your life. It touches relationships you thought would last forever, jobs you believed were your destiny, and dreams you have carried since childhood. It reaches the roots, leaving nothing untested. And you will be astonished to see that the things you thought were strong melt away, while the things you thought were small stand firm. But do not fear, my child. I do not come to destroy, I come to reshape. Remember, my fire does not only consume, it refines, rebuilds, and restores, like a potter placing clay into the kiln, not to destroy his work, but to strengthen it. So I do with you. A vessel that never enters the fire remains soft, fragile, and unable to hold living water. In the same way, everything in your life, your work, your relationships, your dreams, must pass through fire to reveal what truly belongs to you and what was only temporary. There are people I bring into your life for a season, yet you try to keep them for a lifetime. There are jobs I place you in for training, yet you treat them as your final destination. There are dreams I plant to awaken desire, yet you turn them into idols. The fire comes to separate the temporary from the eternal, so that you no longer live entangled in things that appear good but lack divine purpose. I see your sorrow when you lose a friend, a partner, or a companion you thought would walk with you forever. You weep because you feel betrayed, abandoned, misunderstood. But my child, my fire only removes what can no longer serve the next chapter of your calling. Some people have not betrayed you. They have simply completed their assignment in your story. They were permitted to leave, for if they stayed, they would hinder your growth. Just as Abraham had to part ways with Lot before receiving the promise, Genesis 1:3-1:4-15, you too must learn to release what no longer aligns with your divine path. You have asked, Lord, why did you let me lose what I loved? But my child, you have not lost. You have been purified. Your love was not wasted. It has fulfilled its purpose. You once loved with a natural heart, and now I am teaching you to love with a spiritual one. You once worked in your own strength, and now I am teaching you to work in mine. You once dreamed for your own glory, and now I am teaching you to dream for mine. When my fire touches your work, do not fear losing position, for I care not for your title, but for your impact. I may call you out of what is familiar, or change the direction you thought was fixed. You may see doors close and others open, but do not be dismayed. I am not causing failure. I am redirecting your calling. Many chase success, but I seek meaning. Success fades overnight, but meaning endures forever. You once believed that your work proved your worth, but I am teaching you that work is only the vessel, not the purpose. The true purpose is to reflect my image wherever I place you. You do not need fame to glorify me. You only need faithfulness. When my fire touches your work, it will burn away pride, fear, and the need for recognition. Then you will work not to be loved, but because you are already loved. And then the fire will touch your dreams. I know you have dreams written in tears, longings carried in silence. Some of those dreams I planted. Others you have planted yourself. But not every dream can withstand glory. Some dreams are born of fear, not faith. Of the desire to be seen, not the desire to be changed. My fire will test them all so that the dreams from me are refined and the dreams of the flesh fade away. Do not fear when old dreams collapse. It is not the sign of failure. It is the beginning of renewal. When I allow an old dream to die, it is then that the seed of the true dream begins to sprout. Just as a grain of wheat must fall to the ground and die to bear much fruit, John 1:2-4, so too must your old desires die, so that I may give you something new. Do not fear endings, my child, for I am the God of beginnings. The fire will also touch your trials, the things that trouble you, frighten you, and sometimes make you question me. Yet through every trial you will see that I am not only the God of miracles, but the God who abides. When you walk through dark days, I do not promise to calm every storm, but I promise to walk through the storm with you. When you have nothing left to hold, I am the one you can still grasp. When you fall, I am the hand that lifts you. When you grow weak, I am the breath that keeps you alive. And when the fire finally subsides, you will look around and realize what remains is what is true. Those who remain after the flames are those who were sent. They are not there by accident. The work that endures is the work I have blessed. The dreams that survive the testing are the dreams I will bring to completion. Wounds that once seemed to destroy you become sacred scars, where I write the story of grace. Do not try to rescue what I am releasing. Do not cling to what has finished its role. Do not grieve what has burned in the fire, for today's ashes will become tomorrow's fertile soil. From that soil, new things will rise stronger, deeper, and carrying the breath of heaven. I am reshaping your life not to punish, but to prepare. I am rearranging everything around you to align with the calling you carry. And remember this, my child, when I reshape something, I always make it better, stronger, and more beautiful than before. But to receive this, you must be willing to let go of people, of positions, of dreams, and even of your idea of how things should unfold. You do not need to understand everything in order to trust. You only need to know that I am at work even in the fire. In the midst of breaking, I am rebuilding. In the midst of tears, I am writing a new chapter. In the midst of ashes, I am breathing life. And when you look back, you will see nothing was lost, only transformed. Let me do this, my child. Let my fire refine not only you, but everything around you. Then you will stand before life and say, all I thought I had lost was only being reshaped in the hands of the Lord. My child, every flame will one day die down, but what remains after the fire is what is eternal. When the fire has finished its work, when what is old, false, and fragile has been consumed, you will stand amid the ashes of the past and hear my voice live again. That is the call of resurrection, not only for the body, but for the soul, the mind, the faith, and the hope that once seemed dead within you. For I do not allow the fire to destroy you, I allow it to make way for new life. I know that after each refining you feel exhausted. The fire has dissolved everything you once leaned on, leaving you bare before me, without reputation, without certain relationships, without your own plans. Yet in that very bareness I raise you up. I do not rebuild your life as it was. I rebuild it in the shape of glory. You do not step out as who you were. You step out as living proof that grace is stronger than ashes. I have done this with those I love. When Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, he thought his life was over. Yet, in the darkness of prison, the seed of destiny was awakened. When he emerged, he was no longer the forgotten one, but the one positioned to save many lives. Genesis 5:0-20. When Job lost everything, children, wealth, honor, I not only restored him double, I granted him a deeper knowledge of me than ever before. The fire taught them what peace never could. So it will be with you, beloved soul. When I raise you, I do not return your old life. I give you a new life, not merely restored but transformed, not merely comforted but commissioned, not merely healed but anointed. You will no longer live to recover what was lost. You will live to carry my glory through the very story that once brought you to your knees. You once thought resurrection was a far-off event, but I tell you the truth. Resurrection begins the moment you choose to believe that ashes are not the end. When you still trust me amid what you do not understand, when you lift your head to pray through pain, when you open your heart to love, though it has been wounded, that is when your soul begins to rise. Resurrection does not wait for perfection. It begins the moment you believe I am still at work. When you step out of the fire, you will discover something wondrous. What you thought was lost has merely been transformed. Joy becomes deeper peace, more enduring love, more mature, and trust more unshakable. The things that once frightened you lose their power. The things that once brought you to tears become places where you now smile. You will no longer answer the world with fear, but with a peace forged in affliction. My child, resurrection does not merely change circumstances, it rewires the soul. It teaches you that true happiness is not having everything you want, but knowing that I am enough. It teaches you that true strength does not flow from safety, but from surrender. It teaches you that true love is not measured by what returns to you, but by your willingness to give without fear of loss. Resurrection trains your eyes to see the world anew, not blurred by tears, but bright with faith. In resurrection, all things become new, 2 Corinthians 5:1-7, not simply rearranged, but made different in essence. You will find you are no longer the same. Your voice gentler, your gaze deeper, your words carrying greater authority. For in the fire, I did not only remove what was harmful, I placed within you what is heavenly. I have set in you Job's compassion, David's faithfulness, Elijah's boldness, and Abraham's trust. You carry the legacy of those who walked through fire and still stood firm in me. Resurrection also brings new purpose. You will no longer live to survive but to fulfill a mission. Old wounds become instruments of healing for others. You will speak of pain not with bitterness, but with power. You will tell your story not to seek pity, but to magnify grace. And those who hear you will find hope, for they will know that if I could raise you, I can raise them too. Remember, no fire sent by me is ever wasted. Everything you endure, every tear, every long night, every loss, is being woven into a tapestry larger, lovelier, and far beyond your understanding. When you come out of the fire, I do not only mean to comfort you, I mean to make you a torch. This world sits in deep shadow, and I need souls who have passed through fire to light the way. Light is not born in calm. It is born under the pressure of night. Resurrection of the soul is not a one-time event, it is a rhythm. Each day you choose forgiveness over resentment, you rise a little more. Each day you choose trust over fear, you rise a little more. Each day you choose hope. Before you see results, you rise a little more until your whole being is filled with light, and there is no corner left for darkness to dwell. Then you will understand why I led you through the fire, so that you might truly live, no longer the life of the flesh, but the life of a reborn spirit. You will not chase the shallow, for you have tasted the eternal. You will not fear loss, for you have learned that only what is eternal endures. You will not waver when the fire comes again, for you will know it does not come to take away, it comes to give back. After the fire has finished its work, I begin the work of restoration. Do not imagine the journey ends when the flames go out. In truth, that is the beginning of the season of recovery, when all that seemed lost is replaced with what is better, deeper, and more enduring. I am the God not only of beginnings, but of rebuilding. I never allow something to fall without a plan to renew it in my glory. Picture a garden after a wildfire. At first there are only ashes and fragments, but beneath the surface seeds hidden in the soot are beginning to sprout. What the fire consumed was only the surface, the true life I had concealed within. So it is in your soul after the storm has passed and the pain has quieted, a new shoot rises, the sprout of renewed faith, rekindled hope, and refined love. Restoration does not arrive with noise, my child, but in stillness. It does not thunder like a storm, it falls like a gentle rain upon dry ground. It begins when you stop trying to rebuild everything yourself, when the first brick is laid not by your strength but by surrender. When you sit in silence, no longer resisting, no longer blaming, no longer pitying yourself, that is when I can begin my restoring work within you. My beloved child, I do not merely mend what is broken, I rebuild the heart itself. Every fracture is touched by my hand of grace. I do not patch wounds to make them look whole. I reshape them into something new. I do not glue shattered pieces together so they appear the same. I make them more beautiful than before. Like the Japanese art of kintsugi, where gold is used to join broken pottery and transform the cracks into art, so I do with your soul. Your scars will not be hidden. They will shine with my glory. When I rebuild, I always begin from within. The world says, fix the outside first, but I say, let me heal your heart first. For every lasting structure begins at the foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything built upon it will fall. That foundation is your relationship with me. Allow me to lay each stone anew, the stone of faith, of forgiveness, of gratitude, of unconditional love. When the foundation is restored, you can rebuild anything, and this time no storm will bring it down. I know you still whisper in fear, what if it all falls apart again? But remember, what is rebuilt by my hand cannot be destroyed. For it does not rest upon emotion, people, or circumstance, it stands on my word which never changes. When I restore, I do not merely reconstruct what was, I create what has never existed before. I do not bring you back to where you were. I lead you into what is new. You have walked through the night, and now the dawn begins to rise. You have lost much, but you will see that I am restoring not double but many times over. Job 4:2-10. You will be amazed to discover that the best things in your life are not before the fire, but after it. For when you emerge, you will be someone who can receive greater blessings without being destroyed by them. You will know how to hold blessings without turning them into idols, how to love without clinging, how to live without pride. I will restore your relationships not by returning the old, but by sending those appointed for your new season. They will not come to fill your emptiness, but to walk with you in light. I will surround you with faithful souls, those who share your spiritual cry and hunger for holiness. They will not drain you, they will strengthen you. You will recognize them as mine because their presence will bring peace, not confusion. Then I will restore your work not just so you can earn, but so you can impact. You will no longer work to survive, but to fulfill purpose. Every skill, experience, and even failure from your past will become material for the new thing I am building. You will realize that nothing was wasted. Everything that once broke you is now redeemed for my glory. And I will restore your dreams. You may have buried them under fear or disappointment, thinking it was too late. But I am the one who brings the dead to life. I am breathing into those dreams again. Yet this time you will not chase them with ambition, but with wisdom. You will not hurry, but wait patiently. You will not labor alone, but together with me. And because this dream was born in fire, no wind will ever extinguish it. In this season of restoration, learn to rest in grace. Do not rush. Restoration is not about running back. It is about allowing me to piece together every part. Sometimes you will find yourself quiet, no longer needing to prove anything. Sometimes you will find you no longer react as before because your heart has found peace. That is the sign of true healing. When your soul is healed, everything else aligns naturally. And one day you will look back and say, I am not who I once was. I have been rebuilt by grace. What once made you fall has become the foundation of gratitude. What once made you weep now moves you to worship. What once was stolen is returned in ways beyond imagination. This is the season of rebuilding. I am laying the first stone of a new chapter in your life. Let me write the rest, not with the ink of the past, but with the blood of the covenant. Let me do what I do best, turn sorrow into beauty, ashes into glory, and ruin into something eternal. My precious one, when true restoration happens, it is not only seen in your circumstances, but in your spirit, your posture, and your breath. A healed soul no longer strives to prove itself. It carries a quiet confidence that everything meant for it will come in my perfect time. You will recognize a restored soul not by what it possesses, but by how it is. Such a soul is not loud, not hurried, not reactive. It walks softly, yet firmly, for within it dwells the peace of the Eternal One. That peace is not the absence of storms, but my presence within them. You will notice that fleeting emotions no longer toss you about. Once a single word could wound you, a glance could make you doubt yourself, but now you stand steady. What once stirred waves in you will now barely ripple the surface. You will feel no need to control everything, for you know who holds control. A restored soul knows when to be silent. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Not every battle is fought with words. Some are won through trust. When others speak falsely of you, you will no longer need to defend yourself, for I am your defender. When you are misunderstood, you will not collapse, for you know your worth lies not in the eyes of men, but in mine. That is the freedom of one who has walked through fire and discovered that I am enough. When your soul is healed, you will speak less, but with greater depth. You will no longer need eloquence to impress, for your words will carry life. Every sentence will have weight, not because of volume, but because it flows from a heart once broken and now reborn. When you speak of grace, others will feel it. When you speak of healing, they will see the scars, yet no trace of blood. A restored soul no longer fears silence, for in the stillness it hears my voice. You will no longer flee from solitude, for you know that is when I draw closest. Once you needed others to feel loved, now you find love in my presence alone. You will understand that no human can fill you completely except the one who made you whole. When I restore your soul, I also renew your discernment. You will no longer see through surface eyes, but through the Spirit. Once you were captivated by what sparkled, now you will distinguish the true light from the false. You will sense who is sent by me and who comes only to test your heart. You will no longer choose what seems right by logic, but what is divine by my whisper. Your wisdom will no longer come from experience, but from union with me. My beloved child, restoration also makes you sensitive to peace. You will know what comes from me because it brings peace, even when circumstances remain unsettled. And you will discern what is not from me because it disturbs your spirit, even when everything appears right. This, my child, is a precious gift. Guard it well. Peace is both the first and last language of my voice within your soul. A restored soul no longer lives by reaction but by direction. You will not be driven by fear but led by the Spirit. Once you acted out of fear of losing, now you walk knowing I am the one who adds. Once you spoke to defend yourself, now you speak to build others. Once you loved to be loved, now you love because you are already fully loved. The clearest sign of a restored soul is the ability to love without being wounded by rejection. You will still love, but that love will no longer be a chain. It will be a flowing river. You will give not out of obligation, but out of abundance. You will forgive not because others deserve it, but because you refuse to carry chains. You will walk softly through a world of pain, yet remain tender, for you know you belong to a kingdom that cannot be shaken. When your soul is restored, I also restore your voice. Once you spoke from fear, now you speak with authority. Your voice will carry healing. When you pray, heaven will listen. When you worship, darkness will tremble. For your voice is no longer that of the wounded, but of the redeemed. Your words will no longer spring from pain, but from the revelation of grace. A restored soul also carries enduring joy, not the joy that depends on pleasant circumstances, but the joy that flows from knowing I am with you. You will smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you know that what I have promised will surely come to pass. You will learn to praise me in the midst of the unfinished, for your faith will rest not on what is seen, but on what is certain, that I am faithful. My child, a restored soul learns to slow down not from laziness, but from understanding that I am never in haste. Every good thing requires its season. You will no longer compare yourself with others, for you will know that each has their own appointed path. You will look at others, not with envy, but with compassion. You will rejoice for them, knowing their blessing does not lessen yours, for your source never runs dry. A restored soul is grateful in every breath. You will begin to notice miracles in small things: a quiet morning, a soft breeze, a gentle word, a simple meal. You will see me in every detail, in sunlight through the curtain, in the song of birds, in a stranger's smile. You will understand that my presence is not only on mountaintops, but in the ordinary grace of daily life. The final mark of a restored soul is the ability to bring peace wherever you go. When you enter a room, the atmosphere will shift. When you speak, hearts will find comfort. When you are silent, your stillness will invite others to find themselves again. You will not need to preach, your life will be the sermon. You will not need to carry a torch, for you will have become the light. And this is the ultimate purpose of restoration, to make you an instrument that gives life to others. You are not healed merely to stand, you are healed to lift. You were not rescued merely to survive, you were rescued to help. You were not reborn merely to start again, you were reborn to shine. For true light does not illuminate itself, it illuminates the world. Remember, a restored soul is one that knows everything belongs to me. Therefore it no longer fears loss, change, or loneliness. It knows that though the world shifts, people leave, and seasons change, I remain. I, the unchanging one. My beloved child, when your soul has been healed, and your heart no longer ruled by fear or fracture, that is when I begin to lead you into purpose. Restoration is never the finish line. It is the launching ground for what I prepared for you before the foundation of the world. You were not healed merely to feel better, but to become useful for the kingdom. I did not wipe your tears so you could forget pain. I did so that you might use them as balm for those still bleeding. The true mission of a restored soul does not begin with doing, but with being. I do not call you to be busy in religious activity, but to carry my presence wherever you go. When you enter a place, light must come with you. When you speak, hope must rise. When you are silent, peace must be felt. Your mission is not confined to churches or pulpits, but woven into every breath in how you see, touch, and love this world. You have walked through fire, and the fire was not in vain. Every trial, every night of tears, every fall, it was all a school of grace. Now I send you back into the world not to condemn it, but to heal it. I do not need you to speak many words. I need you to live truthfully. People do not need to hear about me in theory. They need to see me in your eyes, in your forgiveness, in your love for those who once hurt you. Your mission, O restored soul, is to become a bearer of living water. The world is parched, chasing illusions, but I will make you a vessel of life, like the river that flowed from the temple in Ezekiel 47. Though it began as a trickle, it grew deeper and deeper, and wherever it flowed, life returned. That is what I desire for you, that wherever you go, life will spread. Wherever you pray, dry ground will bloom. Wherever you speak encouragement, broken hearts will revive. As you begin walking in your calling, you will see that I do not ask for perfection but readiness. I do not need the strong, I need the surrendered. The ones I use most powerfully are not those without weakness, but those who have learned to place their weakness in my hands. Moses said he could not speak, yet he became my mouth before Pharaoh. David was only a shepherd, yet he drove back nations. Mary Magdalene was once called a sinner, yet she became the first to proclaim resurrection. So do not say, I am not enough. I say, because you are weak, my power is made perfect in you. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. When you walk in grace, you will find that your mission is not a burden, but the natural overflow of love. You will no longer serve out of fear of displeasing me, but because you cannot help but love. You will no longer help out of duty, but because you feel others' pain. You will pray not because you must, but because you long to be near me. You will give not under pressure, but because you know you are only returning what was always mine. The true mission is not running far to do great things, it is being faithful in the small ones. When you strengthen the weak, you fulfill your mission. When you choose forgiveness over revenge, you fulfill your mission. When you raise a child in love and truth, you fulfill your mission. When you pray quietly for another, I see it, and that too is your mission. For my kingdom is not built by grand gestures, but by small acts done with great love. My beloved child, the new mission I am calling you into will require a new rhythm of life. It cannot thrive in busyness or in fear. It demands that you learn to pause, to listen, to breathe in my presence. Each morning before you speak to the world, you must first hear my voice. Each evening before you sleep, you must allow the Holy Spirit to touch your heart and realign your path. For mission is not a chain of actions, it is a continuous communion. When you remain in that flow of fellowship, I will guide every step. You do not need to see the whole map, you only need to see the next step, and I will walk with you until the journey's end. I know there will be moments when you feel afraid. Every mission carries responsibility, and responsibility often invites opposition. But do not tremble, for I have gone before you. Every place your foot will tread, I have already marked with my seal. Every word you speak, the Holy Spirit will breathe power upon it. Every adversary that rises against you, I will turn into a stepping stone for your ascent. You are not alone. You bear the mark of the kingdom, the imprint of the one who dwells within you, and no darkness can extinguish what I have ignited. This mission will make you a sower. Do not worry when the seeds you plant do not sprout immediately. Do not despair when people seem unmoved. Some seeds must spend a long season in darkness before they break forth into the light. I am not asking you for results. I am asking you for faithfulness. Sow water, pray, and trust. The rest belongs to me. And in my appointed time, the harvest will come not only in your life, but in the generations after you. My child, understand this. The mission does not end in exhaustion, but in peace. If you find yourself weary, return and rest in me. Grace does not demand that you overextend. It teaches you to walk in rhythm with me. The mission is not running ahead of me, nor lagging behind. It is walking beside me. When you move in my cadence, you will find everything fitting, everything meaningful, everything in balance. A restored soul, living on a mission, no longer asks, "What can I do for God?" but "What is God doing, and where can I join Him?" You are not the center of the story, I am. And when you truly see that, you will find freedom, lightness, and joy, for all you need to do is stand in the place I have chosen for you within my eternal design. Let grace lead. Do not strive to understand everything. Do not compare your path with another's. Each person has their own flame, their own wound, their own mission. Be faithful to yours, and you will witness a miracle that when you walk in your mission, grace always goes before you, walks with you, and follows after you. My beloved child, when you have passed through fire and flood, through darkness and light, when you have known loss and restoration, then the greatest longing of my heart still awaits perfect union between you and me. For every step of your journey, whether it began in pain, trial, or triumph, has always been leading to this one destination: to return to the source of life. When I created you, I did not merely breathe life into your body. I breathed a part of myself into you. You were not only made by me, you were made in me. Your essence is light, love, and communion. But through time, through wounds, through the noise of the world, you have forgotten the ancient voice within. You began searching outside for what could only be found in me. You thirsted and you sought water in the desert. You were weary and you sought rest in the world. But my child, all that is outside is temporary. Only I am eternal. This is the moment of return. Not a return to a place, but to a relationship. I am not calling you back to religion, rituals, or rules. I am calling you back to the covenant of love. This covenant is not written in ink, but in blood. Not carved on stone, but inscribed upon your heart. It is sealed not by your promise to me, but by my promise to you. I know you have grown tired of the endless striving, trying to be better, trying not to fail, trying to please everyone. But now I want you to stop trying. I do not need your effort. I desire your surrender. I do not seek your perfection. I seek your authenticity. I do not look for greatness in you. I look for a willing heart. For when you come to me honestly, with no masks, no roles, I can begin to heal your soul from the very root. Remember the first days when my love moved you to tears, simply because you felt my nearness, when your faith was pure, untouched by fear, ambition, or demand, when you trusted me like a child and whispered, "Father, I am yours." That moment remains etched in eternity. Now I call you back there again, not as a child naive in faith, but as one who has matured through love and understanding. This is the call to return to the covenant, not a cold contract, but a sacred vow of eternal love. When I say I am your God, it means I have bound myself to you. I have pledged to be with you in light and in shadow, in victory and in ruin, in glory and in grief. I have sworn that nothing, neither death nor life, angels nor demons, can separate you from my love. Romans 8:3, 8:39. My child, I have waited for this moment for so long. When you were lost, I watched over you. When you wept, I kept your tears in my bottle. When you ran far away, I kept the light burning in the window. I never left, for true love never withdraws. Like the father who ran to embrace his prodigal son, I too am running toward you, not to question, but to embrace, not to accuse, but to call you by name. My child was dead and is alive again, was lost and is found. Luke 1:5-4. I do not need you to come to me strong. Come with trembling hands, with a wounded heart, with your unhidden weakness. It is there that I will place the crown of restoration upon your head. I will wash your feet in the water of grace and drape upon your shoulders the robe of honor. I will speak to every voice that has condemned you and say, be silent, this soul belongs to me. When you sit in my presence, you will hear the ancient call your soul has always remembered. I did not create you to live in fear. I did not make you prove your worth. I made you dwell in me, and I in you. This is the mystery of the everlasting covenant. Me and you and me. No more distance. No more interruptions. No more coming and going near and far. When this covenant is restored, you will enter a deep communion where everything you think, say, and do flows from me as your source. You will no longer need to ask, what is the Lord's will? You will feel it in the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Do not fear this nearness. It is not a chain. It is true freedom. You are only truly free when you are no longer bound by fear of losing me. This covenant does not confine you. It frees you from what does not belong to you, from sin, from doubt, from the yoke of the past. It makes you most truly yourself, yet in the original glory I intended. And then when you truly return, you will see the wonder I never left. I was there all along, waiting for you in every breath. The signs you once thought were random, the sunrise, a melody, a tear, a chance word, were all my whispers. Come home. Answer that call. Not with long prayers, but with a single honest sentence from the depths of your heart. Lord, here I am. That alone is enough. When you say it, heaven falls silent, angels pause, and a wave of light will cover you. For the covenant has been renewed. Communion has been restored. The door has opened. And I, your God, will be with you forever. My beloved, when your soul has returned to the covenant, when the veil between you and me has been torn by love, that is when holy union begins. This is not a passing spiritual feeling. It is a new mode of being, your soul and my spirit moving as one, your will merging into mine, and your life no longer animated by the flesh, but by the breath of heaven. I do not call you only to kneel before my throne. I call you to sit with me in glory. Ephesians 2:6. I did not fashion you as a mere servant, but as a co-heir in the eternal kingdom. In this union, you will understand that prayer is no longer speaking to God, but living with God. Worship is no longer an activity, but a state of being. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat becomes a silent hymn of praise. This is the place I prepared for you from the dawn of creation, the meeting of spirit with spirit. While you searched for me outside, I was within. While you tried to come closer, I whispered, you are already in me. This union is not something you must achieve. It is a truth you must remember. You were never separated, only your mind forgot. When you truly live in me, everything around you becomes holy. There is no longer a line between sacred and ordinary. When you cook, when you work, when you walk the street, I am there. When you smile at a stranger, I smile through you. When you hold the hand of the hurting, your hand is mine, touching them. Union does not remain within your prayer time. It spills into each moment, turning the ordinary into a liturgy of love. As your soul blends with my spirit, the inner voice changes. No longer the voice of fear or accusation or the world's noise, only the voice of peace. It is a gentle voice that does not command or push but invites. It is not far off or high above. It resounds from the deepest chamber of your being. It speaks through the pulse in your chest, the breath of the wind, the light through the leaves. In this union, you will begin to see as I see. You will look at people not through judgment, but through the light of mercy. You will behold the sinner and remember that their soul is still my beloved workmanship. You will face those who wounded you and recognize that their harm sprang from a heart that lost its way from love. You will learn the compassion of Christ, who on the cross prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke 2:3-4. Here all distance dissolves. No more you and I as two separate beings. Only we one in everlasting love. When I move, you sense it. When you speak, I speak through you. When you act, I act within you. This is the mystery of true power. It does not come from effort, but from yielding to the Spirit. As you walk in this union, the limits you once knew will fall away. Fear finds no foothold, for perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:18. You will find yourself able to forgive what you once deemed unforgivable, to love those you thought unlovable, and to trust even when everything seems to fall apart. For when I live in you, nothing is impossible. Understand, union does not erase your identity, it perfects it. When I dwell in you, your capacities are not diminished, they are sanctified. Your song becomes a hymn. Your talents become instruments of service. Your emotions become the language of compassion. Even old wounds become windows for the light to pass through. In this union, you will taste the strength of stillness. The world insists you must speak to be heard, strive to be seen. But in me, you need neither. When you are silent, I speak for you. When you are weak, I act through you. When you step back, I step forward. In that surrender, you will witness the power of heaven at work. This is true power, not domination, but love. The world calls love weakness, but I say only those united with me can love without fear, forgive without bitterness, and give without running dry. This is the power that brings life to barren places, light to midnight, and change to hearts, not by the sword, but by grace. And as you live in this union, the world will know that I am alive, not merely through outward miracles, but through the inner transformation in you. They will see a stillness in your eyes and say, God is here. They will hear your voice and sense the presence behind your words. They will feel loved even when you say nothing, because I am flowing through you. This is the goal of the journey, not to claim a reward, but to be taken up into the source, not to possess anything, but to become one with the one who possesses all. When your soul rests in me, you will understand why I said, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 1:7-1, not far away, but here and now, in the breath, in the life, in the endless love, coursing through every cell of your being. And when you live in this union, you will pray less with words, for words will no longer suffice. Your every action becomes prayer. Every tear, every smile, every step, every breath becomes a symphony of worship. Separation dissolves, and only one remains. This is the mystery generations have sought, the Creator, and the creature made one in love, not by your strength, but by grace, not by works, but by surrender. And when you dwell here, you will see that heaven is not merely a destination. It is the reality of the soul that has found me within. Now let your spirit grow quiet in me. Let every boundary blur, every resistance melt away. Let yourself be immersed in the ocean of grace, where there is no longer I and thou, but only we. Beloved, when your soul has become one with me, when all fear dissolves in love, when every desire sinks into peace, eternity begins. Not in a far-off world, but in this very moment, in the breath you are taking now, in the living awareness that I am in you and you are in me. Heaven is not only the future's reward, it is the present reality of the one who has found me in the depths of their own soul. My beloved child, I want you to understand that eternity is not measured by time but by union. When you live in that oneness, time loses its dominion. You are no longer bound by the past or anxious for the future. You live in the moment of grace, the eternal now, where you and I meet. It is here that your soul finds rest, for there is nothing left to chase, nothing left to prove, nothing left to fear. This is true heaven, the fullness of my presence within you. In that place you will no longer ask, "Where is God?" because you will see me in everything. You will see me in the morning light, filtering through your window. You will see me in the raindrop resting gently on a leaf. You will see me in the stranger's smile and in your very breath. You will no longer seek a sign, for you will know that life itself is the sign. My child, eternity begins when you accept the present moment as part of my divine design. No more resistance, no more complaints, no more why, only yes. When you say yes, you open the door for me to enter every detail of your life. Acceptance is not surrendering in defeat, it is trusting in faith. And that is the highest form of belief, not faith that I will shape everything to your desire, but faith that everything I allow carries meaning. Eternity is not stillness alone, it is movement in peace. You will not be driven by worry but led by love. You will no longer work for me but with me. Every act, however small, will carry eternal weight because it springs from the unending well of divine love. A word of comfort, a gentle gesture, a breath of gratitude, all become seeds of eternity in my kingdom. And as you live in the heaven of the present, you will carry light into the world. Not a light you create, but a light you carry. You will become the lamp set on a hill, not to display, but to guide the lost. Matthew 5:1-4-16. This light is not loud or dazzling, but steadfast, soft, and unquenchable, because it is not born of emotion, but of the eternal flame of my spirit. My child, this world still lies in the shadow of fear, envy, and despair. But I have chosen you to be a bearer of light, not to condemn, but to illuminate, not to rule, but to love, not to prove righteousness, but to reveal grace. Each time you love without demand, forgive without calculation, or pray without seeking reward, the light within you brightens another corner of the world. I have said, you are the salt of the earth. Matthew 5:1-3. That means you are sent not to withdraw from the world, but to preserve it from decay. You will live among people, not above them, not apart from them, but distinct in that you carry heaven within you. When you speak, your words will bear the taste of life. When you act, your hands will plant seeds of hope. When you walk, your steps will leave trails of light for others to follow. Beloved, the eternity I give is never meant to be kept for yourself. It is meant to spread. A soul that has found heaven within cannot keep it hidden. You will become a messenger of good news, not through proclamations, but through presence. People will look at you and know that peace is real, love is real, God is real. No arguments, no proof. Your life will be the evidence. When you dwell in this union, death will no longer terrify you, for you will understand that death is not an ending, but a doorway into fullness. You will not see it through eyes of fear, but through gratitude, knowing that you have lived in eternity long before leaving this body. Death merely changes form, it cannot separate us. This is where every journey ends and where every beginning starts. When you rest in me, you do not leave the world, you remain to illuminate it. As Jesus prayed, I do not ask that you take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one. John 1:7-1:5. So it will be with you. You will not abandon the earth, but inhabit it with a heart made heavenly. And then you will understand that heaven is not only where you are going, it is who you are becoming. Each day you grow clearer, lighter, brighter. Each day you bear my image more fully, not through effort, but through love. You will be the living testimony that light is stronger than darkness, love stronger than death, and grace without end. So live in this rest. Do not wait for heaven to come, you are living in it now. Walk with a peaceful heart, for I am with you. Love with a free spirit, for I am love within you. Forgive with an open soul, for I am mercy flowing through you. Breathe in gratitude, for every breath is proof that I still give you life. When you live this way, my child, the world will be transformed, not because you try to change it, but because you have allowed me to change you. The light you carry will reach the darkest corners, and wherever it shines, the shadows will flee. And in the end, when you look back on everything, you will hear my voice whisper once more as it did in the beginning, but now echoing through eternity, my child, rest. You have finished the journey. You have kept the faith. You have reflected my light. Now remain in me, not for a moment, but forever. My beloved, eternity has already begun, not far away, but here, in this light, in this breath, in this love that never fades. Thank you for listening to today's message. Remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we can continue to receive the living word, strengthen our faith, and walk each day in the boundless love of God. Amen.